Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. I think everyone knows Karen's trademark, I demand, this time at the airport. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. I won't move until you upgrade me. All right. This one happened a few months ago at the airport in Madrid, Spain. I witnessed it, but I'm not directly involved with this. I was sitting near a gate well in advance of my flight. The previous flight to use the gate was still boarding its last passengers. It was a pretty short one to Lisbon, so probably less than an hour flight time. Here comes textbook Karen with her suitcase going straight to the counter and without any form of politeness starts complaining to one of the two gate agents. The conversation was more or less, Karen, I know you have a free seat in first class. The airline publishes seat maps online. I'm a loyal member of your airline. Can you upgrade me? She slams a card on the counter. Agent, I'm sorry, but I can't randomly upgrade people. Plus, you have an economy basic ticket. Even if I could, we would upgrade any standard economy passenger before you. Finally, this is a silver card, while we do have gold and platinum members on this flight that we would also upgrade first. You have to note that European airlines typically do not automatically upgrade passengers as in the US. Also, the difference between first and economy is usually not that much. Seats are the same, but in front of the plane with a blocked middle seat and slightly better food. That's it. Karen, they've already boarded. If you don't upgrade me, I won't use this airline ever again. Gate Agent 2 makes an announcement about final call for passengers that Karen ignores completely. Agent, ma'am, I repeat that I don't have the power to upgrade anybody per airline policy. It'd not be fair to those who actually paid for the ticket. Karen, the seat is free. I'm sure you can make an exception. Agent, once again I cannot, but I'd recommend you board now. So you'll upgrade me, right? The agent's now annoyed. For the third time, this is not something I can do. You are the last passenger we're waiting for. Can you please go to the gate? I won't move from this counter until you upgrade me. You really should. Unless you're telling me I'm upgraded, I don't want to hear about it. All right. Like a minute or two passes. So have you made up your mind and have me upgraded? Actually, ma'am, the gate's closed. We're not accepting late passengers anymore. I'd suggest you go to the customer service desk to rebook. What? I've been here for like 10 minutes. Yes, but you refused twice to board the plane and made it clear that you would not move from this desk until I upgrade you, which I told you 5 times I cannot do. We couldn't delay the plane because of you. But you should have told me. I'm sorry, but you made it clear that you didn't want to hear about it if it was not about your upgrade, which, once again, I cannot do. At this moment, Karen left with, at the same time, a defeated and infuriated look. It was pretty fun to watch, I have to say. I have no idea whether Karen could be rebooked for free, but I hope not. Pro tip to get a better seat? Pay for a better seat. And our second story. I took it all. My boyfriend and I broke up a few months ago, but there have been complications with the apartment because we're both on the lease and blah blah blah, but I found a new place to live and moved out last weekend. I got the important stuff out, but there were still a few small boxes left and I didn't go through the kitchen because I didn't know what my new roommate had. My ex helped me move and everything was going very well. We were being very cordial. Well, last night, my ex asked me to come over to pick up a few of the small boxes that were in the closet and to say hi to his dog, who was sad that I was gone. So I go over there, we're hanging out, I play with his dog, everything's good. Then I asked if he minded if I took the dish brush because my new house didn't have one. I asked because I bought this dish brush just a couple weeks ago and even splurged on a nicer one, like $5, LOL. Side note, I'm the only person in our relationship that ever bought household items like this. I just moved into a new place where the rent's higher, and I had to pay for a moving truck and all the other things associated with moving somewhere new. The last thing I wanted to do is go to the store and drop another $50 or so buying a bunch of little things I literally just bought a couple weeks ago. Apparently, asking for the dish brush triggered him, and he made the ridiculous dictate, at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday, mind you, that I could take anything that's mine tonight, but anything that was there when I left that night would be his property now. I, annoyed, said no, that I don't agree to this. I immediately said the dish brush was not a big deal. I told him that I did not come prepared with boxes, bags, etc. to get everything I wanted from the kitchen. I said I could do this tomorrow or any other day of his choosing. I begged him to compromise. I told him I wouldn't take the dish brush or anything that he said he wanted. However, he only tripled down and refused to budge from his ridiculous demand. So I became very irate. I told him that if he was going to make me move all my dishes out in plastic trash bags tonight, that I was going to take every last thing that was mine. Again, I'm the only person who ever bought anything, like pots, spices, utensils, cleaning supplies, etc. I was planning on leaving most of it with him because my new roommate already had a lot of this stuff, but I decided that if he was going to make such a ridiculous rule, then I'd take it all. I took the dish brush, the sponges, used and unused, all my spices, the soap, the utensils, all the pots, the Tupperware, the toothpicks, the toilet paper, the pillows, the wall hooks, the coat hangers. I even took the light bulbs. I took it all. Did I yell? Yes. Was I petty? Absolutely. But I think it's quite petty to make a demand on the spot that everything I don't take tonight becomes his when this was not the pretense under which I came over, and I was obviously not prepared. And our next story. My boss used me to take his revenge. So as you can see in my post history, I work in real estate promotion. I had to send a letter to another company telling we'll have to delay signature of a very important contract because one of the suspensive conditions of the contract wasn't done yet. So if we would have signed it now, the other company could have disregarded its commitments. So I prepared the letter, signed it, and was ready to post it when my boss came to my office asking who was the recipient. I told him Company X, then he asked who at that company, so I told him the name of the person. After that, he told me to wait 2 days to send the letter. 2 days later, I told him I'm going to post it. He told me, read the contract between our companies again and come back with another letter. So I do and see that they didn't follow an important part of the contract regarding the transmission of information within the required deadlines. I then make another letter informing them we'll have to make another contract in order to fulfill the big contract and hand it to my boss for validation. He takes the letter and tear it down, telling me write a new one, a disrespectful one, telling they now have to pay 3 times what was on the original contract. So I do it and send one of the dirtiest letter I ever send to a competitor. I got a call the other competitor's girl received it, and she was crying because her boss now wanted to fire her for missing deadlines. The petty revenge explained. Yesterday, my boss took me to a restaurant for lunch because I told him I did not appreciate the way he asked me to do the thing, and he told me that he didn't mean to do that until I have said the name of the person I was sending the letter. Turns out he worked with this girl, and one day she said to him that she worked with the most ugly girl she ever encountered. He said that she used the term ogress, and when he asked her for her name, it was his fiancée back then, now wife. So my boss used me to fulfill a 4-year-old petty revenge. That's love like no other. That man is a beast at revenge. And our last story. Buy a bigger house for my family. My parents both came from very humble beginnings. When me and my brother were young, my parents could only afford a rented 2-bedroom apartment where the walls were so thin you could hear your neighbors breathing. But my parents were hardworking and were saving money to buy their own house. The year I hit puberty was when they were finally able to settle on a house. It was a beautiful 4-bedroom house with a little front garden, a backyard, large living room, a small utility room, and even a little basement. It was a gorgeous house that was way beyond our budget. The only reason we were able to afford it was because it belonged to my dad's friend who'd recently encountered a tragedy and wanted the house gone as soon as possible, so he gave a large discount on it. Even before the deal was done, my mom in her happiness had informed our relatives about the house and sent them pictures and videos. Somehow, Entitled Aunt and her family got wind of it and came to visit the house when we were talking about the possible renovations. She took a round of the entire house, and then this hilarity ensued. EA, Entitled Aunt, M, my mom, D is dad. Entitled Aunt, hey M, the house looks beautiful. Mom, thank you, it's gorgeous. Yeah, but I was wondering, isn't it a bit small though? What do you mean? I think it's an ideal house. Oh really? But how is everyone going to fit? If 2 bedrooms are taken by us adults, then what about the children? Do you expect my entitled kids to share rooms with their cousins? There isn't enough space to accommodate them all. My babies deserve their own rooms too. You obviously haven't thought this through. This house just won't do. Get another house which is big enough for all of us. Why didn't you talk to me before deciding on this crap hole? Unbelievable." We were all speechless. My brother, who's very quick to anger, had already started cursing under his breath, but my parents were still gaping at EA, who was in turn looking at them as if they were idiots. My uncle and EKs were silently watching the scene unfold. "Dad, EA, this house is not small. It's big enough for all the people who will be living in it eventually." "What are you talking about? How is it not small? We're a family of 8 people. There are only 4 bedrooms. Even 6 bedrooms would be okay. Can you not do simple math? Were you thinking of stuffing us in the basement? How are you not understanding this? Get another house." I was growing angrier and even more shocked by the second. The audacity of this woman. Not only was she demanding to live in our house, she was also insulting my parents. My mom had had enough, so she went on a long rant on EA. I don't remember what she said exactly, but it was brutal. By the end of it, EA was in tears and sobbing with "we're family" and a small house falling from her lips every so often. My mom threw them out of the house. The deal was settled, and we set about making plans for the renovations. About 2 weeks later, we were set to move in. We get a call from our grandpa that he was coming to the house for a visit. We were a little surprised as he was never interested in matters like these, but we welcomed him nonetheless and gave him the address. Grandpa came with the entitled family. We were already anticipating a disaster. After exchanging pleasantries, my grandpa straight away said that what we had done to EA and her family was wrong, and we should be a bit more accommodating and respectful. Smelling something fishy, my mom asked him to explain why he thought what we did was wrong. He told us how EA had called him a few days ago and complained to him. She told him that my parents had promised the entitled family that we were all going to live together and they would buy a house big enough for all of us, but now my parents were going back on that promise as they didn't want the poor family living with them. My parents had enough of EA's bullcrap and quickly set my grandpa straight. They told him that no such promises were made, only assumptions and entitlement on EA's part. After a lot of shouting and arguing, my dad said, "Fine, EA, you can live with us. We'll buy an even bigger house which you select, but you have to pay half the cost of the house." "What? Why should we pay for your house?" "So if it's our house, then why the hell are you demanding to live in it and dictating how the house should be? You have no rights to demand anything. You're not staying in our house if you don't pay for anything." EA offered to pay the electricity, water, and utility bills, but no one had an ounce of trust in her, so she was firmly turned down. My dad told my grandpa not to get involved in the matter, which he was more than happy not to do, as he'd only visited in the first place because EA wouldn't stop hounding him. So EA and her family were thwarted in their plans to get a free house, but boy did she complain about it. Every chance she got, she would complain and moan about how we're hateful people who didn't appreciate our family because they were poor. GD, that woman is crazy. Man, you guys sound so selfish for not throwing houses at relatives. Could have done at least a nice car, you greedy people. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.